Hi guys, it's me, Chasser HD, and welcome to another set of car reveals. And today we have Mercedes and Red Bull. And what we're going to do in this stream slash video is look at the new liveries of both the Mercedes and the Red Bull for 2019, and look at, more importantly, the new aerodynamics on both cars. And trust me guys, we have plenty to look at. There is a lot of interesting things on both the Mercedes car and the Red Bull car, and I'm hoping we can find some very interesting parts on both cars. And hopefully you guys who are watching, hopefully you're all doing well on this Wednesday afternoon at the moment here in the UK. And I cannot wait to go through these two cars. I've been waiting so eagerly for this day. We also have Racing Point later on today, which I'll be streaming for later on. But for now, it is Mercedes and Red Bull. Also, just to let you guys know, at the moment, Nib is unfortunately not around. Hopefully he can be around later for the Racing Point stream. Maybe he'll be around later on in this video slash stream to appear and analyze the new Mercedes and Red Bull cars. But right now, unfortunately, he's not around. So I am going to go solo for this stream unless he does show up. So let's start off first with the front of this new Mercedes car, the W10 or the W10. And the front wing, again, you can tell how much simpler it is compared to the 2018 front wings. I will do a comparison later on, guys, so don't worry about that. But you can tell, again, how much more simpler it is. It is more detailed than, say, the Haas, Toro Rosso or Williams front wings. It's kind of similar to the Renault front wing, especially when it comes to the end plates or the outer part of the front wing. But you can tell, compared to last year, that this front wing is a lot simpler. You really can tell if you do compare it to last year's. And don't worry, we will do a comparison to last year's front wing, and that's really the most noticeable thing on this image of the car. Then if I go to this one, you get you get more of an idea of the certain aero pieces on the new car. So let's first take a look at the barge board area. So you can see the barge boards there. Now if I zoom in a bit more, you can see that you can really see, the new regulations at play, because last year they were higher and further back. Now they are lower and further forward, and you can tell they're further forward. They've got a slight sponsor on one of the barge boards, but a lot more detail on this Mercedes and its barge boards than, say, again, other teams like Haas, Toro Rosso and Williams, and even Renault, to be honest. So very interesting to look at that area of the car. And again, it does look like there has been more development on that side of the car. So very interesting to look at that. Now, if I zoom back out, and then I want to, if I can, zoom into the rear, more of the rear of the car, like this. Now, if you look at, guys, this rear tire, you can, if you look close enough, you can see that innovative wheel hub design that Mercedes went for during last season, and it helped them so much. You can, if you look close enough, you can see that they are keeping it, but they have painted the inside of it black, so they are trying to hide, I think, certain parts of it. But you can, if you look close enough, see it. And also in the rear wing, there is a cut, I believe, in, I think, a couple parts of the rear wing, if you look just above that rear tire. So yeah, I think Renault as well had a cut in their rear wing, so it looks as though Mercedes have gone for, I think, 2 there instead of the 1 that Renault went for. But yeah, again, with the wheel, you can, if you look close enough, again, you can tell that they have gone for, or have kept rather, that wheel hub design that helped them so much in the second half of 2018. Now, if I just go back and look at the side pods that you can see next to where the driver sits, of course, they have, I believe, if I'm not wrong, and I think if I am, you guys will correct me as you usually do. I think this is a Ferrari-ish design. Maybe not as much as the other teams have done so far with their reveals, like Renault, Haas, Williams, and Toro Rosso. But it does kind of look similar, but it's not as noticeable as, say, those cars. So I'm not 100% sure if they are a copy of what Ferrari were doing. I think it is, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is, because it is an area of the car that is vital to, you know, directing airflow around the car and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they have gone for that. So yeah, there you go. There are the side pods. Now again, if I bring up this picture, I just want to show you the side of the front wing. So you can see here, actually, if I go back to this picture, I think you'll see it better. So if you look at the absolute outer edge of the front wing, you see this end plate sticking out, which is also curved in a downwards type way. What they've gone for is exactly what Renault showed us yesterday in their car reveal. They are trying to direct the airflow, as Nib said yesterday, around the front tyre and create that outwash to get more front aero on the car or from the car. And that is basically what Mercedes have gone for. And you can, I couldn't actually find an angle which illustrates it as well as it did with Renault, but you can, if you look close enough on the very outer end, on the end plates, you can see the curvature going to right to the width of the front tyre, which the front wing, I think, and end plate has to be as wide as the front tyres. So you can, if you look close enough, you can see that. And Mercedes, to me, look as though they've gone for a similar concept right there. And now that we've gone through all of those aero pieces, what I want to do now is, let me just fix this a minute. I just want to talk about the livery of this Mercedes car. This livery, and I'll show you in a minute, guys, a couple pictures of the Mercedes car going around Silverstone a couple of hours ago. Sorry. I'll show you a couple of pictures in a moment that really illustrate the livery and how it looks on this new Mercedes. For me, this is the best livery we have seen so far. I know that might sound a bit controversial. I don't really care, but I think this is the best looking car we have seen so far. Better than the Renault and the Toro Rosso, and definitely the Haas and the Williams. I really do like this Mercedes car. And if I pull up that picture, you can see like a side-on angle, and also you can see, as I was talking about a minute ago, the outer end plate that I was talking about. You can see it better on this angle, on the edge of the front wing. But yeah, the livery for me is one of the best that they have gone for since they came back into the sport in 2010 as a constructor. And I really do like it. I really do like it. And if I now pull up some pictures from Silverstone today, it really shows just how, I'm going to say it, this Mercedes car for me looks sexy as hell. And I'm going to show you a couple pictures that really illustrate that. So here is Valtteri Bottas in the Silver Arrow car today at Silverstone. And in the natural daylight, it really does look good, especially when it comes to the side pod and also where the driver number is at the back there. It looks really, really good. And it also does give me a bit of a late 90s, early 2000s McLaren feel. Not anywhere near as much with the black coloring on the livery, but it does give me that slight feeling of that time period, and I really like that they've gone for a darker type and I guess more aggressive looking color. I really like that they have gone for that. And I'll just show this picture. I believe this is out of turn 4 at Silverstone. They were only using the short Silverstone track, by the way, not the full track. But yeah, the livery, it really does look good. I'm really liking this livery, and I'm going to say it again, out of all the liveries I've seen so far, this is the best one that has been shown. And I think it's going to take some beating from, well, I'll show you the Red Bull livery, which, by the way, is not permanent, but I'll get onto that in a moment. Racing Point, who are doing theirs later on. McLaren, Ferrari, and Alfa Romeo are going to have to do something quite special to have a better livery than this. This is really, really good. And again, this is probably the best livery they've had since they came back into the sport as a constructor. I really do like the look of this car. And again, in natural light, it looks even more beautiful than it did in that CGI render that I just showed you a minute ago. But to compare this year's car to last year's car, let me just bring up this image just to compare, especially the front wing of this year to last year's front wing. So you can see here, this is the 2019 front wing. And if we now compare it to last year, you can see on last year's front wing of the Mercedes car, especially on the outer parts of the front wing on last year's front wing, a lot more detail and just added parts to get as much front downforce going on that car. And you can kind of tell that the front wings were not as wide last year as they have to be this year. So you can see it there. Then if we go back, you can tell the difference. It's simpler and wider. That's pretty much the simple terms of the new front wings for 2019. So again, there you can see simple front wing and wider compared to last year's more complicated and not as wide front wing. And if I just show this picture as well, you can see that the barge board area is different in terms of where it is placed from the 2018 car to the 2019 car. Definitely further back on the 2018 car and higher up than it is for this year. So you can tell a bit the differences between the two. But hold on a minute, let me just get another picture of the Mercedes up if I can. So there you go. There is the W10 or the W10, the 10th edition of the Mercedes car since they came back into the sport in 2010. And guys, in the chat right now and also the comments section, let me know what you guys think of the new aero, the front wing, the barge boards, the side pods, also the rear wing. And what do you think of the livery? And make sure in the chat right now and also the comments to give it a rating out of 10. How good for you does this look? For me, this is a 8.5 out of 10. I was thinking of going for a 9, but I'm going to say 8.5 because I have a sneaky suspicion that Ferrari could end up having a better livery. So I'm going to go for an 8.5 because I don't think that it is going to be, at the end of the day, the best livery. So I'm going to go for an 8.5 out of 10. Let me know, guys, and again in the chat, what you think, and I'll try to read out as many as I can. But guys, remember, later on today and for the rest of this week, we will be covering the car reveals live on the channel, so don't forget to subscribe if you are new. You can either do it on the bottom right of the screen, right there, click subscribe on the bottom right, or click on my channel name, go to my channel page and subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell for more content like this. But let me now read out a few of your comments and see what you guys have to say about the livery of the new Silver Arrow car. Of course, they'll be hoping to defend their World Championship for another season. So let's read out some ratings of this livery first before I read out some proper comments. So Rise says 9 out of 10. Jay Crail 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 again. Neil says 9 out of 10. Timmy says 9.5 out of 10. Irvin Sensendorf says looks stunning, way better than the Williams livery. Absolutely no doubt about that. Annette says 9 out of 10. Fraser McInnes 9 out of 10. Raghav Gupta 9 out of 10. Right, let me just find some more. Formula 1 fan 9 out of 10. Ultraman Nexus 8 out of 10. Daniel Crawford 9 out of 10. Jonathan Kale says 10 out of 10. So he thinks it's the absolute best thing that has ever happened for liveries so far this season, and probably for the rest of the season. Jordan Snow says 8.5. Right, let me just find a couple more ratings if I can. Aero Deet 450 says 9.5 out of 10. And Makerdon says 7.5 out of 10. Okay. And it says, this is never a 10 out of 10. I'm sure you guys could envisage one which is more impressive. And then he puts 8 out of 10. Jeremy Pope says, looks better than the Red Bull, 9 out of 10. We will get onto the Red Bull guys very shortly. And it's a very interesting livery for the Red Bull, but I will say again, the new livery is not a permanent one. But we'll get onto that in a moment. Andrew Drury says, glad that they painted the halo this year. That is something that I am happy with, because if you go back to last year and with the liveries, the best liveries tended to have the halo painted the same color as the car. For example, the Ferrari of 2018, and I like that they've also painted the Mercedes silver. I do like that. That is a good thing that they've done there. James says, considering what the limits are to liveries with Mercedes, is definitely a 9 with this in mind. I think people have to remember that they can't go for something radical or ambitious, because they are, by nickname, the Silver Arrows. They have to be predominantly, if not all, silver. So they can't really go for any radical designs. And I think, considering that, they have gone for a very, very good looking design. And I'll say again, sexy as hell, in my opinion. Right. Let me find a load more comments. Someone's saying their mirror design is right up there. And also the barge boards are sick. They do look good. They do look good. On the other angle that I showed a few minutes ago. Right, let me find some better or the best comments. Samsung says everyone is copying Ferrari nowadays. Looks good for the Scuderia. Yeah, I guess it does. We'll see what Ferrari have to come up with though. Right. Neil says the blue looks like it's LED lights. The blue on the side pod, I will say, does look good. Definitely compared to the Williams blue that we saw a couple days ago. That absolute horror show we saw a couple days ago. Right. Looking for some more comments. Neil says also last year's Mercedes livery looks so boring now. This makes all the other Mercedes cars look, yeah, I'd say boring. It really does. Right, let me try and read out a few more. Then, in a moment, we'll go on to the Red Bull, which is very interesting. Very, very interesting. Crystal Racing says Mercedes looks great, Red Bull looks whack. I have seen some very interesting viewpoints on Twitter about the Red Bull, which I'll get onto in a moment, which I don't agree with. But yeah, I'll give my opinion on that in a moment. Pratham, sorry if I've mispronounced your name there, says, I like how the rear wing is black. Yep, on the side it is black. They have gone at the rear of the car in terms of the livery for a more aggressive looking color scheme. Look at all those vortex generators at the end of the floor. Yeah, you can see them. I'll try and zoom into that. Hold on a minute. Let me just zoom in. Right, I think now you can get a better look of that floor area and also the side pod and the barge boards, if you can kind of see them. So there you go. The car looks better because of the wet tires. I'll be honest, I was very, very impressed even in the computerized render by this livery. I do agree that these wet tires make it look better, but I still think it looks very good. Very, very good. Right, let me look at some more comments. NN says or asks, what is with the packaging though? Looks intense. It does. It does. There's on the side pod, there is a lot of aerodynamic pieces that do look very, very aggressive, especially as well towards the floor at the rear of the car. Looks very aggressive from the Brackley team. Prussia says, I hope the Racing Point will look good. I hope so too. By the way, guys, just to let you know, we will be going live again at about, I don't know, 3:15 or 3:30 p.m. UK time for the Racing Point livery / most likely car reveal as well. So we'll be going live again later on. TJ asks, thoughts on the front wing? If I just try and let me see if I can just bring up an old image a minute that I just showed of the front wing. Hold on a minute. Right, there you go. There is the front wing. The front wing to me looks good. It does look good. And the more I look at these front wings, the more I'm liking them because they look nice and simple. These front wings should not be as complicated as they were last year. So I'm liking the look of these front wings. So yeah, that's how it looks. And we go back to that. Right, let me read out, I would say, a couple more comments, guys, and then I will get into analysing the new Red Bull RB15, powered, of course, by Honda. Warren M says, Mercedes was a 9.5, then Red Bull came out and I spat out my coffee. 10 minutes later, I absolutely loved it. 11 out of 10. It loses a point for being a one-off. We'll get onto that in a moment. I'm not quite sure I agree with that, but yeah, you'll hear my opinion in a minute. Formula One fans saying the rear wing looks narrow compared to the Renault. I think that might just be the way the picture is or has been took. I will say though, compared to last year's rear wings, you can't really tell the differences in width and height, which there is for 2019 compared to 2018. You can't really tell like you can with the front wing. Right, I'll hold on a minute. Someone's just asked about the barge board area, so I'll just throw up a last image of the Mercedes so you guys can see. There you go, and let me zoom in like this. So you can see the barge board area. And you can tell again that they have been moved forward and down, which they have to be for 2019. But I will say a lot more detail on that area of the car than I saw with Renault, for example. But right, there you go. Right, I'll read out one more comment and then I will quickly move on to the Red Bull. Someone's saying, I'll read this one, this comment out, then I'll move on. So he says, front wing looks basic. Don't think it's the final version. It's not going to be, you know, the final version in terms of what you see at the first race or the end of 2019. But for testing, for the first couple of days of testing, that's what you're going to see, because they are supposed to be more simple and they're not really going to have that much development on them for the early part of 2019. So that is what you are going to see. But I think now I will move on to the Red Bull. The Red Bull RB15. As I'll just let you guys have one more little picture of the Mercedes. There you can see the new Mercedes. For me, the best looking livery so far. But now, let's go on to the Red Bull. And here it is. It's only a one-off livery, but here it is. The Red Bull RB15, powered by Honda, that Max Verstappen and Pierre Gasly will be driving for 2019. And, well, it's a very interesting livery. And by the way, Red Bull today are also doing a shakedown at Silverstone. Unfortunately, I don't have any pictures of that at the moment, but I'll try to get some for the Racing Point stream later on today. But yeah, very interesting car in terms of livery and also aerodynamic pieces. So let's first go to the front wing. And again, with the front wing, you can see how much more simple it is compared to 2018, but also it looks like the front wing, the real meat of the front wing is slightly curved compared to the Mercedes, or maybe that is just the color scheme doing that, I'm not sure, but looks a bit curved. And also the Red Bull logo, there's a bit curved, so it might be actually the color scheme. But you can see here the outer end plates, again, like Mercedes and Renault, they are extending it out to the edge of the tyre to create the outwash, which is what they want to get more front aerodynamics and to gain the aero that they have at the moment lost for 2019. So again, you can see that on the outer end of the end plate, and there's no real surprise that they have gone for that. But also, just noticing here, if you guys look at the side pods, look how tight those side pods are. Very, very tight. And also Ferrari-like. But yeah, they look very, very tight in terms of the packaging of that part of the car. Very interesting there from Red Bull. But again, on the front wing, you can see the more simple or more simplified front wings for 2019. I'll just quickly go back to this picture. Now, with this shot of the Red Bull, you can't quite see the barge boards, but you can't really see any development on that part of the car. So I don't think this picture is necessarily everything they have right now. I think they might be hiding something with this car. But also look towards the rear of the car and you can see just how tight it is at the rear end of the car. Very, very tight. Of course, Adrian Newey has been doing this for so long, so it's not a surprise, but it's so nice to see because the Red Bull, it's always a good looking car in terms of the aerodynamics and how it is shaped around the power unit and stuff like that. So that is great to see there. And again, the side pods, you can kind of see it here, are very, very small. Very small. But what do we think then, guys, of the livery? In my opinion, this livery, which by the way, just to let you guys know, this is only a shakedown livery. This is not an official livery. The livery that Red Bull are going to be using for 2019 is basically going to be most likely the same as last year. This livery, in my opinion, is not good. I don't like it at all. I don't think it looks that good. I don't really see the point in it. In fact, if this was their real livery, I would be severely disappointed because it looks terrible compared to, say, last year's livery, the official race livery, and liveries, 10 years ago from Red Bull. So thank God this is a one-off livery, because for me, this is terrible. If this was an actual race livery, this would be one of the worst on the grid so far. It looks terrible. But if it's only for a shakedown test, then it doesn't really matter, does it? And I think they've also gone for this to protect certain aero pieces from being really noticed on the car. So yeah, no real surprise they've gone for that. But I would just go, not to that one, to this picture again, because now I want to again compare front wings from 2018 to 2019. So you can see here the front wing of the Red Bull. Also, like I said, I think with Renault yesterday, a lot more development on the front wings of the new cars from Red Bull, Mercedes and Renault compared to Haas, Toro Rosso and Williams. So yeah, memorize this front wing, and then this is the comparison to last year. So again, last year, not as wide, and you can see, especially on the outer part, there is more detail. So again, do a quick comparison. You can definitely notice the width of the front wing between these two pictures. So you can see that that's the new car with the new front wing. And then this is the old car. And I think we can say the old livery is way better than this one. It's way better. There's not even a doubt about it, in my opinion. Of course, you will have your opinions in the chat or the comments, but this livery is nowhere near as good as this livery, which is most likely going to be their livery for 2019 when they turn up to testing in a week's time. And also you can see the difference in terms of the barge boards. They're more noticeable on the 2018 cars, and also the color scheme again on the 2018 Red Bull, a lot better than the camouflage livery or the shakedown livery of the RB15. But guys, let me know right now in the chat, what do you think of the new RB15 in terms of the aerodynamics, the front wing, side pod, barge boards, rear end of the car? What do you think about those parts of the car? And also, what do you think about the livery? How does it look for you? And in terms of a rating out of 10, how are you going to rate it? For me, this is a 4 out of 10. I don't like it. I really hope this never gets raced ever. It's terrible in my opinion. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10, and that's me being generous like I was with Williams on Monday, where I gave that a 3 out of 10. But yeah, let me know in the chat right now, guys, and also the comments. What do you think of this new livery? That is only, by the way, a one-off, a shakedown livery. It's not for real. The real one will most likely be the livery from last year that they used in the actual season. Yeah, let me know in the chat and the comments section. right now. But also, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, as later on today and later on this week, we will continue to cover the car reveals for 2019 live. So if you are new, don't forget to subscribe. On the bottom right of the screen, you can do it right there, or click on my channel name, go to my channel page and subscribe, and hit the notifications bell as well. But let me now take a look at some ratings. Also, I've seen people saying, I just saw someone saying they want a side shot. I'll try and look for that in just a moment. I just want to read out what you guys think of the livery. So let me read through. Doomring Records saying, how thin is the back? Very is the answer. It's very, very skinny. But right, let's go through some ratings. So Crystal Racing, 2 out of 10. Someone saying there, Andy Huckle saying the Red Bull S-duct area looks interesting. I'll have to take a look at that the more I look at this car. But Doomroom Records says 9 out of 10, so he does approve a lot. Jay Crail says 5 out of 10. Mostafa says 6.5. Zalun, I can't pronounce that. If I do, I'm going to absolutely destroy it, so I'm not going to bother. He says 3 out of 10. RC Training says 10. That's very surprising. Jeremy Pope says 5. James Armstrong Jones says 7. Joe Rick says 9. Pedro Goldfinger says 10. So a lot of you think differently. Right, let me find some more ratings. So Robert Evans says 6 out of 10. Rodar 6 out of 10. Leap 91 5 out of 10. Sorry. Unseen Live 1 7 out of 10. Super. I've just missed it there. Super Duper 9 out of 10. NN 6 out of 10. Neil 9.5 out of 10. Vic T 10 out of 10. Elk, I think that is. Sorry if I've mispronounced it. But 9. SVE 7 out of 10. Sheldon 9 out of 10. MG 9 out of 10. Right, I think I've covered enough ratings there. So it seems as though a lot of you approve. In my opinion, it doesn't look good. I would never race it, but that is just my opinion, of course. But right, I'll try and read through as many comments as I can about this new Red Bull car. Jay Crail says, honestly, the livery isn't that bad, but isn't that good either, though certainly slightly better than the Williams. This is better than the Williams, no doubt, but I can't say that it is anything that good. But again, that's only my opinion. Erudite says, I was surprised Mercedes showed their complex barge boards. Everyone else is still holding back. Well, you have to remember that they did a shakedown at Silverstone. So even though they can't do that much running with the new car, if they can get a feel for the new car, then they have to stick as many aerodynamic pieces on the car so they can find out you know, what the grip of the new car's like. So it's not a massive surprise that they've done something like that. But I do kind of understand what you mean there. It is something that the teams have kind of done as of late in terms of not showing as much development or as much detail on certain parts of the car deliberately, so other teams don't get an idea of how to design their car. But I am now going to try and find some different pictures, if I can, of the Red Bull. If I can't, then sorry guys, but you have to remember we did go live very soon after the after the reveal. So I'll just look now, scrolling through Twitter to see any new shots of the car. I don't really see any new parts of the car. I don't really see any new angles. It's only the two I've shown so far. So sorry about that, guys, but I'm sure there will be even more pictures coming out soon. And once they do some running around Silverstone, when I go live again with the Racing Point reveal, I will show, if they do show images of the Red Bull car around Silverstone, I will make sure to include that, so don't worry about that. James Armstrong says the Mercedes livery is pretty lame, worse than last year. I'll be honest, I don't know how you can say that. Of course, it's your opinion, but I think it looks very, very good and is the best livery we've seen so far. Mini Rockstars says, I missed the yellow accent, but I do still really like the overall livery. It's a change, and they didn't play it safe like Mercedes, and they didn't do a Williams, so I'm happy with it. Remember, though, it is only, as you just said, a special edition livery or a one-off. It's not supposed to be something that's permanent, but yeah, you know, if they want to try out something new, maybe for Toro Rosso to use in a few years' time, or for Red Bull to use, then yeah, why not? But this is, again, as you just said, only a special edition livery. Robert Evans says, I hate to admit that the Mercedes is a good livery. It is. It is. Let me just get a picture again. There you go. There is, in case you've missed it, guys. Actually, let me not show that one because there's a better one. Not that one. No. This one. There you go. And let me zoom out. This Mercedes, for me, really does look good. They really impressed me when it comes to the livery design for this year. It does look good. It does look good. I've even seen Ferrari fans on Twitter saying, even though I hate Mercedes, I have to admit that this does look very good. I've seen Ferrari fans say that on Twitter already, so it is a good livery. It absolutely is. Right. Crystal Racing says 10 out of 10 for Mercedes. I wouldn't go that high. I went for an 8.5, but it is a good livery. It really is. Timmy says Mercedes are popping. Hate to say it. They haven't had the most interesting livery in the last few years, but this is the best thing they've had for a long time, if ever. James Armstrong says the Toro Rosso is still the best looking car for me so far. The Toro Rosso, even though people criticised it for not being different, it's still a very good looking car. I don't know why people were so adamant that they had to make a different livery. I don't get why people thought that they had to go for a different one. It clearly works, so why make a new one? Let me go back a minute to the Red Bull, because someone's just said, Andrew Drury, what is that duct thing on the bonnet of the Red Bull? We can't quite see. Let me just zoom in if I can, because I'm not quite sure what it is. Again, with this livery, you can't see everything, and that's a deliberate ploy by Red Bull to not show everything they have. But, well, let me know what it is. But with the livery, I can't really tell. It kind of camouflages into the livery. Right, let me read out probably 5 or 6 more comments, and then I will come to the end of this stream. And again, guys, just to let you know, And there's people saying that it is an S duct. Right, okay. Yeah, yeah, it does. Let me try and zoom in a bit more if I can. It does kinda. Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to agree. I think it does. That's as close as I can get on the software I have, but I think you can kind of see it a lot better now. That is the S duct, I'm assuming. But yeah, just to let you guys know that later on at 3:30 p.m. UK time, so in about 2.5 hours time, I will be going live again for the Racing Point reveal, and also I am going to have more pictures of the Red Bull later on as well. So don't forget to tune into that in about 2.5 hours time, and we will analyze, of course, the new Racing Point, but again, look at some more pictures of the Red Bull, because I can't wait to see what it looks like out on the track. Chaz, will you do a Ferrari live stream? I'm going to be doing, if you don't know, and if you are new to the channel, all the car reveals except for the Alfa Romeo one, we are going to be covering live on the channel. So, for example, Racing Point later on, then tomorrow, McLaren, and then on Friday, we'll be covering the Ferrari one. We will be covering the Alfa Romeo one, but it will be as a part of the first day of testing review. Ben asks what time for the stream later on. It should be around 3:30 p.m. UK time, because the Racing Point reveal is at 3 p.m. UK time. So I'll be looking to go live, yeah, say 20 to 30 minutes after. Tom says clever Red Bull with the colours. Yep, they are, because, and they've done this before, going for a livery that kind of hides certain parts of the car, and that is what they have gone for. Right, let me read out a few more and then I will come to the end of the stream. Tom also says, how can Ferrari fans judge? They haven't seen the new Ferrari. Let's wait until Friday. There is rumours that Ferrari are going to go for a darker red, kind of similar to the 2008 Ferrari. So we might see something better livery wise from Ferrari on Friday, and hopefully we do, because a nice looking Ferrari is just a great thing to have, isn't it? Right, I'll read out a couple more if I can find some. By the way, thank you to the people watching live and people that have tuned in, and thank you to you guys for posting these great comments. Right, let me find a couple more. Someone just asking there, where is the Honda logo? If you look towards the rear, you can see it there. It's on the rear of the car, just before the rear wing. You can see it, but this picture doesn't really show it that well. Unseen live one, as much as I like, as much as I dislike, sorry, Verstappen, I think this might be his title contender. Hopefully, I want to see 3 teams going for the championship, but we'll have to see on that. Right. Swiss Army Knifer says, can we look at the mirrors? Let me just see if I can get a better picture of that. Hold on a minute. I think you can kind of see them here, the mirrors. Let me zoom in a bit. There you go. You can get a better picture of also the side pods and the mirrors, and also the this S duct. So yeah, you can get a better picture of that there. Right. I'm going to try and find the best couple comments I can to end the stream on. So Crystal Racing says Ferrari will pick green to surprise us all. I would love them to just do a testing livery that is in yellow. I'd love for them to do that. Of course they're not going to, but why not? Of course they're going to be red for the actual season, but why not have a yellow livery for testing? It's only testing at the end of the day. So I'd like to see that, but yeah, they're not going to go for that. Right. Let me find one last comment. And it is, the last comment goes to Swiss Army Knifer, who says awesome. No problem for me, showing that picture. He says, I just wanted to see how they compare to last year's in regards to positioning. I can't really notice the difference, to be honest, but I don't really tend to look in that area of the car in terms of differences between one year and the other. So if you have noticed something, then make sure to post in the comments if you have noticed something. But there you go, guys. That is your car reveals for Mercedes and Red Bull. We only have now 1, 2, 3, 4 car reveals left. Racing Point later on, then McLaren tomorrow, then Ferrari on Friday, then Alfa Romeo on the morning of the first day of testing, and then pre-season testing. It is coming around very, very quickly. But guys, thank you very much for coming along and being a part of the stream. And again, we will be live later on in about 2.5 hours time for the reveal of the new Racing Point, the first Racing Point car with its new livery and most likely a new 2019 car, even though it's going to be a computerized render, not a official in-person 2019 car. But make sure to come along for that. So definitely make sure to subscribe for more content like this. Again, we're going to be covering the car reveals live on the channel during this week. So subscribe either on the bottom right of the screen. You can do it right there. Or click on my channel name, go to the channel page and subscribe to the channel. Like this video, comment down below what you thought of this video, and comment down below what do you think of the Mercedes and Red Bull liveries and how do you rate them out of 10, and what do you think of the certain aerodynamic pieces on both cars. And also guys, don't forget to join our Discord server. That's the best place to get notifications for my videos, link below in the description. We also have 100 members now in that server. So thank you guys for that. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Chaz6110 to keep up to date with me and when I'm uploading videos or going live on the channel. And check out my website chazerhd.com for more content like this. But guys, until 3:30 PM UK time with the new 2019 Racing Point, it's been me, ChazerHD. Goodbye.